not doing it.
There it is. It
I've
did it
got
now.
it now.
17th of June, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay. So we're on the last two lines of Yud Tes Amud Aleph. And
Bava Metzia.
Amud Aleph.
Bava Metzia. That's right. So what did we say over here? We said that Gemora said the reason that we don't give back the star was because the Mishnah was talking about a case where the Lo Amar Tanu. He didn't say Tanu. So since he didn't say Tanu, so there's a chashash that maybe he changed his mind in the end, and he didn't want to give the document. Amar Tanu, if he had said if he had said Tanu, give it to him, give it to the recipient. So then no sting. The Bezdin would have instructed that the document should be returned to the recipient. Okay. And let's just see what let's go to the next part of the Gemara, Raminhu. This is the end of the second line from the bottom. And you have a different way of explaining where it is in the art scroll.
19A4, right-hand column, the third paragraph.
Okay, Lou, it's your turn to read.
Raminahu. We contrasted this with the ruling of the Brisa. Matzah de Tikaos. If one found wills, apotikaos, or apotika, apotikaki, umatanos, or gifts, af al pi shenehem modin, even though both people agree, lo yachazir lo lezeh v'lo lezeh, we still don't return it, not to either of them.
Yeah. Okay, so where's the Gemara? Where's this question being asked from? It's being asked from a brisa that we didn't see yet. How do you like that?
Wow.
Okay. So we're expected to be prophets, I guess. Okay. All right. I was wondering where this brisa was. Okay. So that's what it says in this brisa that we didn't see. So the Gemara is asking a question based upon a brisa that we didn't see. So that's the question. That's what it says. Even if they do admit, even if they do want that it should be given, we don't. It says says in this brisa here that we don't give it back to either one of them. So that's not like we were assuming that the only reason that we didn't give it back is just because the giver didn't say to give it. So we thought maybe he changed his mind. He didn't decided that he's not going to give it. He changed his mind. He's not going to give it. So now here we see, no, it doesn't depend on him. We don't give it back, period. Even if he says to give it. So we have a bit of a lack of clarity over here. When are we supposed to give it, if at all? So on that, we have a Rashi, Lo Yaksir.
Okay. We have a Rashi before that. Have that word apatikos.
Oh, Protikos, yeah, okay.
Or apatikos. She'asa, well, to be made to him a sadeh, his field, a potiki. That's like a potiki is a somebody who like you put in charge, like what do you call it when the guy is like in charge of your thing? You're like he's not.
Oh, that's an apotropos. Apotropos.
Oh, so what's an apotiki then? He's making an apotiki.
Okay, apotiki is actually a noticon. It's an acronym that stands for po. Here, from here, you could take. It's the Lova is saying to the Malva, he's designating this property as a place that he's authorized to get his loan paid back from. Let's see what Rashi says about it.
Yeah. So anyway, so with the apotiki lemalva for the lender.
So the apotiki
On that. Shahaitolo would have him along Malva Yeshana. There was an old, like an old
al pet.
it's a verbal agreement. It's lending it on you lend. It's a verbal agreement. It's not a written agreement. And that he's coming. There's an old loan there.
Oh, so Rashi seems to be saying that when do we need to have an apotiki? When does it find its application? In the case where you don't have a written down loan document, so therefore, if it's not written down, you don't have any property that's officially being put on lien to pay the loan, right? Generally, when you have a written document, a written loan agreement, so from that time that the loan is given over, so from that time, if the loiva sells any property to a third party, to a purchaser, the malva can be torif from that property in the event of non-payment of the loan. Here, Rashi is saying, and that works even if you don't have an apotiki. All you have is the loan document that's been written and signed by witnesses. Here you got a special document called an apotiki, and that's on account of the fact that you don't have a written loan agreement. It's all an oral agreement. And Rashi adds to it that it's an old one.
I'll be there.
So like that, the loiva agreed to put in writing that to satisfy the malva that he should take from this particular property here. He's authorized to take from this property in the event of non-payment. Okay. So now the Gemora brought this brisa that says that if you found one of these apotekes or you found a daitiki in the shuk or a shtar matana, so even though afupish shnei modin lo yaksir, you don't give it back. Lo lezev lo lezet. Let's see the Rashi over here.
Okay, so you didn't return it. That's lo yachzir. Don't return it. Shema, perhaps, kadva was written for this. The low masala, when it wasn't transferred to him. The low the karka, the chazar, when he returned it, the katav, and he writes later on, umasar, when he returns to him, hashazur, is that? Star,
yeah.
the star. That's the star. Okay, the document. The zachabo, when he gets it, ubar, and he comes lachzor, and to return it, bo, mean from Hasheni, from the second one. The road said when he wants to take Lirishon, he wants to give it to the first one. The Hapates.
Then he turned it around.
And the package that was returned to him, star, there's a star with stars in it. The Beit Din, that came out from Beit Din. The Nimsa you find who Usmani after time, star al-Zeh, another star code before this. L'shtaro shel Shania, the star of the second one. The Yotze Miyeh B'Yobit, and it takes out his hand by Din. So there's two starim going on, complicating finding here, right?
Okay. So this guy he can't seem to make up his mind over here, can he? What happened over here? He wrote a document to give to Jew number one, and then lo masralo, he didn't give it to him. Velo zacha b'karka. So accordingly, the Jew number one wasn't zocha in the karka. Chazav v'kosav le'acher. Then he turns around and writes to Jew number two. Umasalo ashtar. And he gives him the shtar. V'zochabo, and he was Jew number two zocha in this property because he received the shtar. Shtar matana. Ubo lachzorbo milasheni. And now this Jew, I guess you would call him an Indian giver. Now he decides that he wants to take it away from the one that he gave it to. Sounds like a bit of a nut. Chazav v'kosav la'acher. No. Ubo lachzorbo minasheni. Now the one that the Jew number two that he gave it to, now he wants to reverse that decision as well. Doesn't want to give it to Jew number two. Now he wants to give it back to the one he originally wanted to give it to Jew number one. So what do we do? Chafetz sheyimsu lo shtar zeh sheyotzien bebezdin. And this giver, he wants that it should be given to Jew number one, this star that was Shiotzienu bebezdin, that went out in the bezdin. The nimsa zman star shel zeh kodem l'shtar shel sheni, and then it'll come out that this, because he hasn't, right? It's all about, because he doesn't want to pay the scribe more money to write another document. But this document has an old date on it, so it's going to come out. Says Rashi, Nimsa Zman Shtar Shel Zeh, that it's going to come out that the star of this one, meaning Jew number one, if we're going to give him back that star that went out in the Bezdin, that he decided not to give it to him. Kodem l'shtar shel sheni. It's going to be dated before the star of the sheni. V'yotzienu miyado bedin, and he'll be able to, armed with that star, he'll be able to go to the Bezdin, Jew number one, and whatchamacallit, and say that he received this property before Jew number two was given the property, so he should be entitled. But really, it's not so. So if you followed all of that, good. Okay.
I wouldn't mind going over it again.
Want to go over it again? Okay.
But haven't got time. I haven't got time.
Oh, we have plenty of time.
Oh, right. Okay.
We got plenty. There's plenty of time to learn Torah. Okay. So now, right? What's Rashi doing over here? He's trying to explain why the Brisa says we don't give it back to this guy if we found such a shtar matana in the shuk. So Rashi seems to be concocting a scenario so that we could appreciate why it is that the Brisa says we don't want to give it back to him, this document that was found. Okay, so again, Rashi di Ramaska lo yaksir. Don't give it back. And we're talking about a shtar matana. The Jew, we're calling the Jew the giver. He wants to give Blackacre to Jew number one. Says Rashi, we're not going to give it. We're not going to, just because he says he wants to give it back to him, that doesn't mean that we're going to give it back to him. Why, says Rashi? I'll tell you why. Shema kosfa lazeh. Maybe he originally wrote this document to this one, Jew number one, we'll call him. Below masalo, but he never gave it to him. He never gave it to him. Below zocha b'karka, and accordingly, Jew number one was never zocha in this karka. He never acquired the ownership of this karka. Okay, that's step number one. Step number two, v'chazar v'kosav la'acher. And then this Jew, the giver, he makes an about face, and he writes a document to an acher. We'll call him Jew number two. Umasalo hashtar, and he actually followed through with the thing. He not only wrote it, had it written to give to Jew number two, but he actually went ahead and gave it, this star, to Jew number two. And accordingly, Jew number two was zochabo. He acquired an ownership interest in this karka, Jew number two. And then what's this giver? He can't seem to make up his mind. Ubo lachzorbo min hasheni. Now he gets up one day and he decides, I don't want to give it to Jew number two. No, rotzim l'teit l'rishon. I want to give it to Jew number one. So now what happens? But where's that document? That document, after having never been given to Jew number one, it got lost and it was found. And now it's in the Bezdin. And the owner of the property, the giver, Rashi says, "V'chafetz sheyimseru lo shtar zeh sheyotzienu bebezdin." He wants to give it to this shtar to Jew number one, sheyotzienu bebezdin, that it went out in Bezdin. So now what's happening? What's the problem with all of this? Says Rashi, what comes out is that the zman shtar shel zeh kodem the shtar shel sheni. The date of the document that he wants to have given to this Jew number one is the date precedes the date of the document that Jew number two is holding. So if the Bezdin decides to give this document over to Jew number one now, because the giver says, yes, I want to give him this document, and we lost it it was lost in the shuk, and now we're just giving it back to him, right? So it sounds like an innocent thing. Give it back to him. Oh, there's going to be a problem, says Rashi. Because what's the problem? The problem is that it really doesn't belong to Jew number one. He never was Zocha in the Karka. The only one that was Zocha in the Karka is Jew number two. Why? Because this what do you call it? This giver that changes his mind every other day, he actually had it written for Jew number two, and he actually gave it over to Jew number two before he changed his mind. So Jew number two is the one who really owns this Karka. He's the one that's got the document that was given over to him. But Jew number one never got the document because before he decided to give it to him, he changed his mind and didn't want to give it to him. And now he changed his mind another time. And now he, yes, wants to give it to him. Okay? And it's going to... and then so if we're going to give it back to Jew number one, he's going to be able to use this document to take it away from Jew number two, Bedin. But I think the understanding that Rashi is pointing out is that it's really Shalokadin, because really the real owner is Jew number two. Okay. Okay. Okay, so in any way, so we want to know when, so what should we do? When do we, yes, give it over? And when do we not give it over? It seems like we have two contradictory sources. So let's see what the answer is. Do we have any time to see the answer? Yeah. Amar Rebbe Abba Bar Marmel. No kasha. There's no kasha over here. Lou, you want to read?
Yeah, if I can find it. Let's see. Amar Rebbe.
It's the last 6 words of the page.
Last 6 words on Yud Amid base.
Amid Aleph.
Amid Yud Chet or Yud Tet?
19a. Last 7 words.
A at the bottom of the page. Oh, I see. I see what happened. Amar Rebbe Abba Bar Mamal. Rebbe Abba Bar Mamal said, Lokasha, no problem.
Yeah.
Ha be bari.
Yeah.
This is healthy.
No, he made, that's what he did. He made it like when he was healthy, not when he was a shift marab, not when he was on his deathbed. When he gave the gift, he was a healthy person.
Vaha chiv mara. While this one is sick.
The Sheikh Mara is like somebody on his deathbed, and it's believed if he makes that immediately, and you go by his words, he doesn't even have to write the star on that type of thing. You believe a sick person if he's making a on my deathbed, his bequeathing, if he's giving something as a gift, it has more weight. But if it's a healthy person, it doesn't go unless he gives an actual star.
The English says that the document of a healthy person
Right.
not return, whereas the document of a sick person we do return.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Let me read the top Rashi on our base. And then I think that's where we'll have time for Hab-3. Here we're dealing with a healthy person. Shahaya star matana. Here was a star of a gift of a bari of a well person. The locative that it's not written in it. Get to the kinar. That it is that's like acquired somehow, the kinar.
Katsir Barame Ba'arse.
Yeah, but I don't see that's not a katsir, that's not a tzaddik, that's a nun. It says
What does that mean? Keshahaya hole umutel b'mitato. In other words, Rashi is explaining how do we know what type of a star it is? Rashi says this star that we're talking about here is a star of a healthy person because it didn't write in the document which means kishahaya chole umutel b'mitaso, when he was sick and he was just lying in his bed. Didn't write those words, which is the way that you write a document which we call a shchiv meirah, document of a shchiv meirah, his savo. Kedin shekosvin b'shtare matanos shchiv meirah, which is the din when we write the star of a gift of a shchiv meirah. Okay, so Rashi's just bothered by how do we know which document is a document of a healthy person? How do we know which document is a document of a person who's on his deathbed? So Rashi says because it says it explicitly in the document of the one who's on his deathbed. It says who is quite sick and he's lying on his bed. So if it doesn't say that, so then we don't assume that it is. We assume that it's an ordinary shtar of matnas bori. But Rashi doesn't explain us what we want to know, which we'll see tomorrow. What exactly is the halacha of this type of shtar, and what's the halacha of that type of shtar? Which is the one that we give, and which is the one that we don't give back? We'll see tomorrow. Be'ezus Hashem.
Okay, take care.
All right, then. Thank you.
Okay, shkoyach.
See
Shem
you.
yishmor aleinu.
See you, Phil. Lou.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, have a good day.
Amen.